listen-only mode.
Okay, good morning everybody, and welcome to the Centerity webinar. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'll just do a quick sound check just to make sure my voice is coming through clearly. So Brett, can you just confirm that you can hear my voice okay?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Excellent. So look, thanks for everyone joining. I'm seeing a few more people joining the webinar as we go, so I'm sure we'll have a few more stragglers as we get started. But look, I just firstly wanted to thank you all for attending. This is an exciting launch for us. We've recently, Applaud has recently signed into a strategic partnership with Centerity, which is a network and infrastructure monitoring capability. But I guess as you'll see in this demonstration, it goes beyond that into true business service management. For those of you who don't know who Applaud is, we are a managed services company based out, or managed service and professional services company based out of Sydney. We formed in 2004, and I guess the crux of our DNA has always been in network and infrastructure monitoring and desk side support. So the partnership we've signed, the exclusive partnership we've signed with Centerity in the Australia-New Zealand region is quite important for us because it underpins almost everything that we do on a day-to-day basis supporting our customers. My name is Mark Richards. I head up the Managed Services Division for Applaud. Today we're going to take you through a couple of introduction slides. We've got Marty from Centerity, who's based over in Boston, who's the Chief Operating Officer. I'm sure you all would have heard the news coming out of Boston this morning, so Marty, I'll firstly just pass on our support to all Bostonians and hope everything's okay. But Marty's going to be running through some slides today just to give you a little bit of the history of Centerity. We've also got Brett McKissick, who's one of our lead support engineers based out of Melbourne. So Brett will be taking you through the technical demonstration today. We're going to keep the slides pretty light on today because we know it can be a little bit of death by PowerPoint. So we really want to get into the technical presentation to show you what Centerity can do for your business. I'll wrap it up at the end of the slides, but essentially Applaud have been partnering with Centerity now for going on about 18 months in an internal capacity, but also supporting our existing managed services customers in more recent times. We offer Centerity in 3 flavors. One is a complete managed service, and I'll go into a little bit of that at the end. We also offer it as a SaaS option where you can essentially just have monitoring checks via the cloud. And the third option is a full on-premise deployment where you have the Centerity server and the monitoring checks all from your premise, and we just essentially implement it for you. For today's webinar, though, in terms of the technical presentation, we're going to touch on a few key elements. The first one is around the executive dashboard. So this is more for the managers and the CIOs of the world to get an aggregated view of your environment, including cloud-based websites like Salesforce.com or Google, for example. We're also going to show you some of the base monitoring features. So just to show you that Centerity does everything it should be, plus more. And then we're going to start getting into the advanced features around end-user experience monitoring and true business service management. Just some general housekeeping before I hand over to Marty to present just the introduction slides, and we'll only touch on these for a couple of minutes and then get straight into the demo. But just some general housekeeping. On your right-hand side, you should see a webinar window. There should be a button there to raise your hand. Just do that. I'll be able to see that you've done that and be able to unmute you and you can ask the question to the panel. So. Let's make this as collaborative as possible. Lots and lots of questions if you've got them, and I guess on no further ado, we'll get started. So over to you, Marty, just to run through the slides, if that's okay. And I'll just, Brett, if you can just share your screen so Marty can go through the slides. Hope everyone can see that okay. And over to you, Marty.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark, for those kind words. And good morning, everyone. First, I want to congratulate you all for your tremendous victory at Augusta. And yesterday, I watched it from wire to wire. It was pretty exciting. So congratulations to you all. The first slide coming up is going to be the Enterprise Management Associates slide, and that's very important for us in terms of analyst reviews of our product. And if you can move to the next slide, we'll show attendees there. So you can see this is Enterprise Management Associates, is a major analyst firm in the U.S., and they created this Enterprise Management Radar report in Q4 of last year. It shows Centerity and our competitors on the screen in the medium deployments category, and you can see Centerity as the top value leader in this chart. And we're not one of the leaders, we are the top value leader. And we also got a special award for best extensibility product, meaning we're the easiest to deploy, scale, and maintain. For inclusion in this study, there are three major criteria. One is that you had to be able to monitor multiple vendors' equipment, so you couldn't be a single vendor solution. You had to be able to be cross-platform. You had to have the ability to share information with others, other tools and other systems. And you had to have credible deployments of at least 5,000 elements per single user, and we met that criteria. And in this survey, Enterprise Management Associates considered 5 factors. One was architecture and integration. A second was functionality. The third was cost advantages of the solution. The fourth was deployment and administration of the solution. And the fifth was the strength in the market. And based on those 5 criteria, we finished in first place ahead of notables like SolarWinds, Quest, HP, and Ipswitch, which is the What's Up Gold product. So the analyst comments about us said that we were the broadest data capture solution that they reviewed, that we provided end-to-end coverage of complex and diverse IT environments, that we offered next-generation business service management views for service-centric IT organizations, and we were quick to deploy, flexible, adaptable, and scalable. So that's why we got the top value leader as well as got that special recognition award. On the next slide, I'll speak a little bit about our architecture. Our architectural approach and the approach of our company is to be an enterprise-class solution. We're not offering point solutions, but we are involved in managing hybrid environments and providing end-to-end coverage and holistic views of that infrastructure. So first of all, to be able to do that, you have to be able to monitor the classic elements like physical elements, switches, servers, firewalls, etc., network equipment and applications like operating systems, databases, and non-standard applications. We also monitor passive equipment like cracked units, UPSs for data centers, and alarms as well. We also monitor a synthetic user layer that we create using our robot, and our robot will create synthetic user transactions by which we can baseline normal activity, we can see trends, and be proactive in making recommendations based on those trends. We also, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see we monitor virtual environments, which is very, very important. So we monitor all the major virtual technologies out there. We can also do cloud management and cloud monitoring, whether it's public or private cloud monitoring. And we can monitor SaaS applications via our end-user experience module. We have very flexible data capture techniques, so we can do it agentlessly based on technologies like syslog, telnet, SNMP, SSH, and many others, but we can also do it via our agents. We have over 40 agents that go on almost any operating system, and we can do auto discovery of infrastructure and control those devices using these agents. So they're very, very powerful, completely flexible in terms of how you or Applaud wants to apply this. We can also act as a manager of managers, so it depends if there's a favorite tool or you need a transition path away from your current tools. We can act as a manager so we can upload the metrics from that particular tool, and we can still maintain holistic views of the entire infrastructure via the Centerity platform. And we also are very flexible in terms of integrating with third-party products. So to the extent that you have a favorite ticketing system or service desk or help desk, we can integrate with those products in a bi-directional fashion. Next slide. So ultimately, we offer a unified platform. It's one system. It's one approach throughout the entire system. The GUI is consistent across all modules, so many companies suffer from having multiple solutions in their environment with different approaches, but we offer everything end-to-end, so the GUI is going to be consistent across every module. The templates are going to be uniform. The capture methodologies and the deployment methodologies are going to be simple and straightforward. All of it's pre-integrated. There's no integration of components. It's a software application and a platform we deliver at one time. So it means our time to value is going to be very, very short. And we've done this and really designed the product to maximize the benefit to users and customers of managed service providers such as Applaud. So I think it's very, very important to note that. Ultimately, what we're trying to do by offering all these features and all this broad capture mechanism is we're trying to offer next generation business service management, which is really key. It's the management by process, and it's this cross-technical domain and cross-department views by executives really, really is key to being more efficient. Ultimately, we can deliver very fast return on your investment at a very low cost, total cost of ownership. We can reduce your mean time to restore very, very effectively, and again, our time to value is very, very short. So we think we have a terrific product. The analysts think we do. Our customer base does, and I hope you will too.
Fantastic. Thank you, Marty. Brett, can I yeah, great. So before we go into the demo, I just want to touch on a couple of points that Marty spoke about. The time to market. So implementations that we've done thus far have been in the order of about 1 to 2 weeks. So what we're finding in the market is that the heavy tools such as SCOM and HP OpenView and the like are incredibly difficult and incredibly tiresome to implement. But once you've implemented them, the upkeep on that is quite onerous. So we went through, as I'm sure yourselves will at some point, we went through an assessment stage and a business case to determine what monitoring platform we wanted to move into the future with. And we assessed products like SCOM, HP, SolarWinds, Kaseya, and Centerity came out way far and above due to some main reasons that I just want to quickly mention now. One is the speed to implement, which Marty touched on. The single pane of glass view. So to take a complete ITIL business service management view down was really, really important to us, because obviously being a managed services provider, ITIL frameworks such as ITIL are very important to our customers, and it's incredibly important for us to be able to offer a cohesive, aggregated solution to them. And the last thing was cost. So this doesn't cost an arm and a leg. This is, it's a very cost-effective solution. It's priced per check, so you can scale up and down as you see fit. So they're 3 really important components for us that we identified in the assessment phase, and the main reasons why we ended up going with Centerity. So without any further ado, just before I mention just some case studies, and there's some more information on the Centerity website. We'll give you that website at the end. But some of the customers that have moved off products like SCOM and the like onto Centerity include customers like Coca-Cola, Singtel, the Israeli Air Force, and there's case studies coming out regularly from Marty and his team on some more customer testimonials. So they're certainly getting some accolades across the globe, including the US and Europe. So now with the presence now in Australia, we're expecting some similar results. So Brett, I'll hand over to you now just to bring up the system itself. This is our demo environment. So Brett will take you through to start with just the dashboard view, and then we'll start delving into some of the detail behind the scenes. So Brett, over to you.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Mark and Marty. Right, everybody, thank you for joining us today, and I'll try and keep this quite brief and not to bore you to death with technical mumbo-jumbo and in-depth hows and twos. This is just an overview of what the dashboard, what Centerity can do, and how powerful the tool is. So this is our starting page, the dashboard. As Marty said, it's a unified single pane of glass that we can actually find a lot of information at a high level about our infrastructure. So the dashboard starts with an availability graph in each quadrant, in the quadrant on the left-hand side at the top here. Basically, it's a technical view of all checks and currently in the environment, and just an overview to see how everything is performing. The health quadrant, top right-hand corner here, it's actually showing us the technical view, all the hosts and services, breaking up between a host being a device and services being a check that's actually performed on that device. And moving down to group statuses. This is a flat list under each group you can set it as a business unit, a geographic location, a business entity, different companies. You can set this up totally customizable and at a high level to tell you how a department is doing. And this is quite exciting with one of the tools that Centerity offer. It's called a business service management view. At a very high level, it's actually the business model and service view of how the business is performing in any particular section. So an example would be any system service that is not performing at 100% will show up in that list, and you can actually, as a point of failure, identify what is not working within a system if we're having technical issues. And you can see right now there's a critical error on a CPU in on this mail server.
So Brett, if I could just
Yeah,
give
sure.
some context to that for the audience, this is where ITIL really comes into its own. So, or where Centerity has really catered for that. So when you go out and have the conversations with your customers or end users about understanding what IT services are critical to them, once you understand that, you can build monitoring views from the service view down. So the business don't know it as Exchange Server XYZ, they know it as email, they know it as internet, they know it as their payroll system. So it's really important from a monitoring view that we close that gap between the language of the business and the language of IT, and this is how we do that within Centerity. Sorry, Brett.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. So that's business service. That's at a high level what you guys would want to pay attention to and see how things are moving and behaving. The event status down here window, it currently just shows, as we saw in the alert from the email business model, the critical alert that's actually popped up in the system is for the server. So at a very high level, I can see that email service is degraded, and you can weight these business models. You can break it down to network, storage, and you can weight each part accordingly and kind of give you an overall percentage value on how the service is actually performing at the moment. This you can actually see is the server that's actually giving us a critical alert at that time. Okay, that's the dashboard.
So really, really good for CIOs and managers if they want a one-page view, all available via the web. They want to see a service view of their entire environment. This is where they would go in to do that. We want to move on from here and now start getting into a little bit of the detail, but we're going to work back up to service view. So we just want to quickly show you what a dashboard would look like for a CIO manager, or even an IT staff might be very interested in this as well. So now we're going to show you the device monitoring capability, how you would go and discover a device and apply some templates, and then we'll move up into some of the advanced features of the product.
Okay. All right, so we're moving to the heart of the system now. We're actually going to go ahead and anything we want to add a device that we want to monitor. So integral to monitoring something, you need to have something to monitor. Centerity is a very powerful tool. It's got different methodologies of discovering devices on the network. We can do an agent discovery, is one of the ways of discovering stuff, and this is after deploying the Centerity agent across your network. The agent can then go ahead and search the environment for that agent to respond and get some details from it. There's also network discovery, a quick way to find out which hosts are available on your network and which ports are open on that host. We can do an SNMP discovery. Basically, any SNMP enabled device on the network will respond, and we can assign templates and profiles to any and all of these devices that come up. If Michael, we want to explain a little bit about a profile, something assigned to a predefined set of checks that would be assigned to a device of some nature, whether it be a Windows server. You can have an out-of-the-box set of checks that you want to check. You want to check a ping, you want to check a CPU memory, and fully customizable. These templates can be applied to any and all devices as they're discovered. So we're going to go ahead right now. Mark, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, look, I think it's an important point, Brett, because part of the implementation headache is about tuning all the alerts that you've got configured. So having all of those inbuilt templates in the actual product itself, the moment you discover a device, you simply need to apply an out-of-the-box template, do a little bit of tuning, and your monitoring check for that device is set up. So it really helps us reduce the time to implement, being able to leverage those out-of-the-box templates.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I've just installed a new server in the environment, and I'm going to go ahead and I've installed an agent on that server. So I'm going to go ahead now and do a discovery, and I'm going to do an agent discovery for this new server that we've just installed. So I'll just quickly do a search for the server. You can set up different points if it's, ports if it's non-standard, credentials, anything you want. You can scan by IP address. That directly I know the IP address of the server is that. We can do a search by IP range. We can do a start and end IP. Again, different ports. And we can also do a subnet, so we can actually scan a whole environment, a whole network. But in this instance, I know the IP address of the server I've just built. So we're going to just plug it in, and we're going to go say and scan the network. Okay, it's found the device, and we're going to have a look and see what it is. Yes, IP address, it's an x86 machine, which is correct. And as Mark referred to, the profiles, this is where you would assign a set of predefined template, a profile to the server for a set of checks that you want to actually, whether it's switch, router, Windows server. In this instance, it's a Windows server. So, and we can actually have a look and see what the predefined profile looks like. And out the box, you can see it just does a ping check, a CPU, C drive, memory, and service check. And that looks good. We can go ahead and save that. Okay, we've added that. So we're going to go ahead now and just find that machine. And here's the device right here, IP address. Okay, so we've got its IP address and its name. It's ART Dev 01. It's a Dev development server, just a description, IP address. And when you assign a machine into the environment, you want to assign it to a host group, meaning who does that machine belong to? What group do you want to group it under? And we've just popped it into Applaud IT. And this is a very good, nice feature of the monitoring system. It's always nice to have a parent or a dependent alert structure. So if something at the very top of the tree fails, you don't want to be told that everything else behind that it has failed. That's obviously it's apparent that if the parent device has gone down, you're not going to see anything behind it.
So for those service management advocates out there, this is where we as Applaud leverage this feature around our configuration management database to understand the down and upstream relationships for a configuration item. So if we have a production server that underpins a service, or it has downstream relationships to some more hardware and software, you can feed this into your CMDB to have real-time inventory discovery, but real-time relationship mapping as well, which is quite important.
Very powerful. We just we've added the server now to the monitoring system. We're just going to do a quick check and make sure that we can actually see it, or the monitoring system can actually see it, and that it's responding okay. And yes, we get an okay, and it's just done a quick ping check on the device. So it's on the network, it's alive and well. On this page, the advanced tab, we can actually set up notification periods. We can do it 24/7. We can do business hours, weekends, any nature of a mix of thereof, and minutes in between checks. So we can customize, and then alerts can be sent via email. There can be pop-ups on the screen. They can be, ticketing system. Very, very powerful way of getting alerted. And these are the checks that we had in the profile we had assigned to the machine. We did ping, CPU, all those good things. And going through, we can actually see that it's actually found some information about the server, the operating system that it's running, something about the structure of the file system, memory, the BIOS of the device, drive structure, and even going down to processes, what's currently running. Sorry if it's going a bit fast on your screen. I'll go a bit slower. Current services that are currently running. So very powerful, very quite a very good tool. I'll just go back and show you another really part of this dashboard. That's if I go to the machine from here, I can actually details on the server, what it is, system. It's a Windows 2003 name, belongs to this domain. What services are running currently and stopped actually right now on real time on the server. What processes, and this is a really good feature. Actually, it does an interrogation on software installed. So right off the bat, we can actually see what's installed on this. That's the agent that actually we installed to run the tool. but you can see service packs, Office, everything. So obviously, there's something on here you don't want to know about. Some P2P sharing software or something. We can identify it straight off the bat and just address that.
So, Brett, it's
on the right-hand side.
Sorry, I'll let you get into the right-hand side. I was
okay.
Making sure you weren't skipping on around remote takeover and the like as well.
Yes, okay. On the right-hand side of this dashboard, we've actually got a whole bunch of tools we can do straight off. Sorry, let me get this to come up. We can go and check the service checks that are happening right now. So this is just a service detail on, these are all the things that it's just checked, and they're all okay. So we're happy with that. We can schedule downtime. We can schedule an immediate check of services. So say I've just done some work on it, or someone's just reported something issue, I can, rather than waiting for it to pull through at this next check interval, I can tell the system, please go ahead and check it now. We can schedule downtime. This is a fantastic tool and easy to get to. If we're doing some work on a server, we obviously don't want tickets to come through the system. We can just schedule some downtime. We're going to reboot the server. We don't want the monitoring system to get alerted about that. We can add some notes and comments as to, Brett's doing some work on the server, please ignore, or, please call Brett if there's any issues reported through the system. We can enable checks, we can disable checks as well. And this is a really cool feature. We can actually RDP, unfortunately I can't do it I'm outside of the office at the moment, but if I was inside the environment, I could actually, from this panel, actually jump straight on and RDP straight to the server. So it would let me go straight. So much easier way than doing your remote desktop, starting an empty RDP session. Right from the panel, we can actually just go straight to the server. Okay, and ticketing system, as Marty defined, we can actually integrate this with an in-house ticketing system. Or they can all be right on this dashboard, single pane of glass.
So whether it be you're integrating with a product like Remedy or ServiceNow or the like, we can do that integration via web services very easily. Similarly, you can use the in-app or in-product ticketing system if you wanted to use this as your single pane of glass. So it's entirely up to you. But we understand that most customers have legacy service management tool sets that we need to plug into. So very easy to do, and you can even get it talking to the CMDB and the change management suite as well, if you like. Okay. We'll move on to the next step. Mark, yeah, sure. So next we're just going to cover or start moving into some of the more advanced features, and I might actually just pause there. I haven't seen any hands come up yet, so if you have a question, please just click your hand, or even just go on to the questions. I think you can even put a question in the chat. So if you have a question, please speak up, or just instant message us, and we'll field that as we go. Okay, so we're now going to move into the hypermaps and some of the dashboard views, or the maps dashboards that they're better known as. Some of the advanced features which from a support perspective are incredibly useful, both for troubleshooting, but also to help support agents go and locate devices and the like. So Brett, if we can just sort of bring up the hyperview map, let's start with that.
Okay, so this is a real live hypermap of the environment, and we can actually go through and we can actually define, and each host, each server is actually on the end of each application servers, domain controllers, databases, and fully clickable. And actually from this actual panel we can actually go, so this machine right now is actually reporting in a warning status, and we can actually go and see what is actually, there we go, Windows disk space on that server. So right from that hypermap we can actually go straight to that device and see what it's actually reporting about. Very powerful tool.
Okay, Brett, you want to bring up the maps dashboard now and just show the audience how you can use floor plans and the like to overlay your monitoring checks.
Sure. Okay, this is a very nice, nifty feature of Centerity. This is a demo environment, so we obviously haven't got a lot of graphs and maps and floor plans in the system yet. That'll be coming very shortly. This is just a quick example of a comms cabinet that you would have at any any IT shop, any business, in fact. And on this background image, we can actually put on information about the device that we actually want to check. So if you're reporting to somebody remotely, somebody standing in front of a cupboard and you're trying to explain, see the switch on top, it's got a blue wire on it, and obviously it's quite hard to, if you've never seen the infrastructure, but this kind of really helps that nail it down and actually give some visibility to both the support staff and the people on deck. So we can actually say, well, I've got a picture of the cabinet here, and I want to see this is the switch that I have some questions about, and we can right off the bat see that that device is super smashing lovely right now, and it's all good and happy. Okay.
Similarly, just before you move on from that, Brett, similarly you can overlay this with reporting checks, so a traffic light type concept where you have the back of a comms cabinet, and I think we've got a little green button there, Brett, so you can actually see the status of that, whether it's faulty, drill down and start getting some more granular detail on that if it is throwing up some alerts.
Okay, so any historical reporting that we have on that device. So very powerful, very nice feature. And we can do geographic maps as well, floor plans of buildings, which are very useful. Quite often the support staff have no idea where comms cabinet is. Comms cabinet A is, comms cabinet B. So to have a floor plan of the building, in reception, turn right, and cupboard on your left-hand side. So, but we can. So this is on just a map. This is Applaud head office, and we're just doing a check on the actual web interface of the Centerity monitor, and that's reporting all good.
So just on the geographical coverage, and we're not showing it here, but it's very easy to, if you recall that we showed you the parent feature where you can show up and downstream devices. If you wanted to show a map view and show how the devices are interrelated, very, very easy to do this by overlaying a floor plan or a geographical map.
And here we just have a map. You can just, this is all fully designable, and there's actually a map designer. You can actually go and create like Visio diagrams, and you can just have your network infrastructure. And again, right from here, we can actually again click on anything in the environment and go back to anything that's showing up as a warning. So very powerful. Obviously, the graphics can be improved somewhat. We can make it all nice and flash, but you get the general gist of the idea that it's at a high level we can see the infrastructure and we can go straight to devices from within maps themselves.
That's a good segue into the reporting capability, Brett. So do we want to just delve into the types of reports you can run, whether they be ad hoc or some of the scheduled and saved reports?
Sure. Okay. Reporting is obviously very important to the audience we have online. You guys want to know how we're doing with information. You want to know uptime, downtime, all those relevant stuff. So within Centerity, we can actually create reports. We can schedule reports. We've got a couple of saved reports we've got here. So we can just do a saved. We can run it at any time. I'll just show this one quickly. It's a report we had compiled, and you can see the report pops up. Nice graphic. You can save it in HTML. You can save it to a PDF. So really nice, easy, and informative. And there's a whole feature of reports that we can do: availability, history, inventory. We can do trends, uptime, all most reporting. We're going to create a report, so we're going to go. I'll just quickly do an ad hoc report for you to show you how easy it is to run a report. So we can just say last 24 hours, top alert producers, and we're going to save it as an HTML, and we're going to generate the report. Okay, and there you go. That's the report done. So the last 24 hours, we can see these servers have been reporting some issues, and of course then you can go ahead and investigate as to what the reports are, what the alerts are, and address them before they become an issue. Scheduling reports, we can actually go ahead and have these reports mailed to us weekly, daily, monthly, however you see fit. A saved report is really easy. We can run any one of these, and we can schedule it to run at any time. So we can just say add a report. We can just say Applaud. Just bear with me if I go through. And we save it as a PDF. We're going to run this report, and we can schedule it to be every minute of every hour, every month, on the first day of the month, and who we're going to send that report to. Send it to myself, and done. That would be the report scheduled. So that would then run on that defined day, and you'll have it in your inbox.
Okay, so
do you want to elaborate on that, Mark?
Yeah, I do. Look, so what we're showing you at the moment is very much your traditional monitoring capabilities. I particularly like, well, we get a lot of use out of the hyperviews and the maps dashboards, primarily because our support operation, or our network operations center, which runs 24/7, it likes to be able to see those tickets coming in, be able to drill down immediately, and be able to troubleshoot before it's assigned off to the relevant support areas. So it's a really good drill down. But what I did want to move on to now is go back to the service views and show you a very cool feature about the product, which is all around end user experience monitoring. So let me just paint some context to this. So I've been working within the IT service management sphere now for going on about 13 years. And one thing I've always seen every organisation that I've ever been involved with struggle with is around true availability reporting, and they struggle with it because it's very difficult to get a complete measure of availability as it relates to a business service. So whether it be email, whether it be more recent times a cloud service, to make sure that you're measuring every piece of that puzzle is somewhat challenging. And this is where the end user experience module within Centerity really helps us do that. So not only do we manage or monitor the back-end infrastructure within our own private cloud, for example, or we monitor the links or the WAN and the LAN the layers. So what we can also do with Centerity is use the end user experience monitoring capability to go and monitor things like website clicks and the ability of a the performance of a website as it relates to authentication. So I want, Brett, if you can just go back to the service views and firstly just show from an infrastructure perspective or at a service view perspective how you can create a service view, or how we've created some service views that show each of the layers that make up that service, and then we'll show a little bit about what end user experience monitoring is about.
Sure. Okay. In this example, I'd like to use the Citrix environment we've set up, and the service view as the whole service, being the Citrix as a service, we can break it down into different parts. Being a network part, these are all parts that make the pieces of the puzzle that make that Citrix not just a part of the puzzle, but the whole service work. So these are all dependent items that are pieces in the chain that can potentially break at any one time and cause the service availability to be degraded. So we can go through, we can see network, we can see storage. So at any one time you get degraded service, something, a switch goes down, run out of disk space somewhere. Right off the service view you can actually drill down and see where you're experiencing the issue that would cause that service of Citrix to be degraded at this time. So we can add, and this is totally customizable. We've just knocked this together just as a demonstration, just to show that you can add all different layers and also the end user experience. So you can have another layer of the user actually logging into the web portal, bringing up their desktop, and report on a metric around that, being time to load, and that'll can I segue straight into the user experience part of that. Mark, do you want to expand on that service view?
Yeah, sure. So what you've just seen there is a bunch of infrastructure layers. So from a support perspective, they get a phone call from an end user or several end users at several locations saying email is down. They don't necessarily know what's causing it, but at the click of a button, they can go down into that email view and know exactly what layer is causing the problem. Could be the switch, could be the router, could be a server, could be a service on a server. The only missing piece of the puzzle now, and this is not relevant to some services, it is relevant to others, but take the email service as example. A portion of your user community might use webmail or Outlook Web Access, and you want to be able to measure users authenticating in via just a straight internet connection. You're able to do that in the end user experience module and be able to I guess, aggregate those checks in under your complete service view. So not only are you getting a back-end view, but you're also getting a front-end user view as well, and you can measure true availability. So Brett, if you just want to drill down into that and give some examples.
Into the user experience?
Yep.
Okay, the user experience comes about by Centerity's designed this a robot. It's basically a desktop PC that sits in your environment. It's not a workstation. It's not a user workstation. It's an independent machine that just sits in a cupboard or a network cupboard somewhere and just runs through a predefined set of tasks, simulating a user sitting at a desk. So in this particular instance, we've got a robot PC sitting in the cupboard, and we do a couple of checks that we've just thrown at this thing. It's an automated task, so these tasks will run on the machine itself. Just in this instance, it's going to open a web page. It goes to Google, and it does a search for Applaud IT. Sorry. And it does a search for Applaud IT. And once that page is populated with the correct information, it reports on a metric on how long that took. And that's repeated. You can schedule that to happen every 30 minutes. So simulating a user sitting at the desktop, opening a browser, typing something in, hitting go, hitting enter. And that metric took 2.5 seconds.
So Brett, we have a question from the audience, if I might just intervene. Question is, how long does it take to implant solution in average size organization? Give me some examples. So to give you an example, I think it was, it looks like Zlatko who's asked that question, I believe. We have a portfolio, to give you an example, we have a portfolio of about 15 managed services customers, 5 of which we would consider our enterprise class customers of around about 1,000 to 4,000 seats, each customer with in the order of 500 devices, infrastructure devices that is. Each customer tenant to bring on, to run up the base module and the base instance of Centerity took us about 3 days. To bring on each customer thereafter in the order of about 2 to 5 days. And that's to get all the checks configured, to have all of those 500 devices monitored, to get the relevant network connectivity established with those environments through firewalls and the like. So depending on which offering you would go with, if you would go with an on-premise solution and you've got a single organization of 500 to 1,000 devices there, you can implement this and have it working and functional within 2 weeks. And I compare that to an SCCM implementation, which just to get SCCM working and monitoring all the relevant devices, you'd be looking in the order of 2 to 3 months in our experience. So you're talking about 1/10 of the implementation time, and not only that is you get it all through a single pane of glass. So Zach, I hope that's answered your question, and if there's any more questions, please by all means put your hands up. We welcome all questions. Sorry, Brett.
Good question. Thank you. Thank you. Another test that another little task this robot does, it does an Excel task. It opens an application, being Excel. It writes some data to that Excel spreadsheet and saves the file back to the C drive and just measures how long that took. Of course, you can totally customizable. Out of the box, there's a plethora of checks that we can go through, templates that we can add, sending an email, opening Notepad, opening Word. Ideally, you'd want to do everything that the user does in your environment. You'd want to simulate that task with the robot and actually report relevant information, apples to apples. You don't want, if the user is in Outlook, web Outlook all the time, and you're doing an Outlook or an Outlook Express check, you're not comparing apples to apples. So you want to have the robot do what the users do, report on those metrics, and right from the high level of the service view, you'll be able to say, well, my user experience is at X level. Very powerful tool, and something that's really hard to quantify before now, but as you can see, Centerity have done a fantastic job of actually bringing this functionality to market.
Brett, just before we finish up on the service views, can I just quickly get you to go back to the service view page? I just want to show a service view that's not showing 100%, just to give the audience a little bit of context. The Argent email, there you go. So as you see there, we've got, under this customer, we've got just one layer defined, but you might have several layers, as we mentioned before, the network, the infrastructure, the storage, etc. But here you can see the service availability view is sitting at 93.75%, and because of the checks that we have in place have been weighted depending on based on their criticality, their impact to the business. What it will do behind the scenes is when that goes into warning or critical state, whether it's degraded or the service is down, it'll real-time adjust your service availability view. And this is why it's so valuable to an IT manager or a CIO to be able to see that real-time availability view of all of the services that their business consume from IT. And once you've got those service views set up, you simply go through the report console and you can report the last 7 days, the last 24 days, the last year. All of your historical reporting just is configured on the back of all of this. So it's incredibly useful when you're reporting historical availability views back to the business, but also presenting an availability dashboard to the business. You could even go as far, I've seen some customers present this real-time dashboard via their intranet and publish it to the whole business. So very, very tailorable, if that's a word, to what you need to do.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Okay. I think that summarizes basically in a nutshell what the features that we have on offer with Centerity, and of course, if there's anything else that Centerity have been fantastic coming to the table and helping us tweak certain environments, certain requirements that we've asked for, proxy monitoring via a proxy, which was really another powerful tool that they have on offer. So if I may, just a quick summarize and highlights of the Centerity monitoring system.
Okay. Marty, look, I'm just going to throw it over to Marty. I know he's been itching to call out a few other features, and we've got about 12 minutes left. So, Marty, is there anything you wanted to add? You're obviously the advocate for Centerity, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think we've gone through a lot of it, but we've got a lot of white papers we can share with you. But we certainly think that that end user experience roadmap that we have and being able to correlate that with all the other metrics is huge. I mean, it gives you information that you can't otherwise get. And if you have a customer-facing solution, you really want to know that your SLAs are being met, and we can measure those over time, and we can. It may not be meaningful for a user login to go from 1 second to 2 seconds, but that's 100% degradation in that service, and that's a trend that you really need to know about. So I can't emphasize enough the end user experience as being a critical metric along with all the other metrics. The other thing would be the business service management. I mean, being able to get these, again, executive dashboard views of the processes as they're collectively correlating all the information across all the technology domains and across all the functional domains are really, really huge, because now you can start to see how one device impacts another, and you can also do this. This shows you how organizations impact another as well, and so you can really get down to you can end some of the finger pointing that occasionally occurs, where you get storage pointing to networking and networking pointing to applications, and by these views you can actually see where the cause is really occurring. So you can get right down to this actionable information, and that's what you want to see.
So, Marty, we had another question from the audience I've just noticed from Denny Wan, who asks, is there a free community edition instead of a demo version? So you want to field that one, or would you like me to?
Why don't you field? We don't have a company-wide program for that. We may be instituting one coming up, but currently we do not have one.
What I can say, though, Denny, is if you are interested in trialing this, we can certainly look at a trial version of 30 or 60 days. What we do for a lot of our customers is take a small portion of their infrastructure and drive a proof of concept, and we can do that very quickly, very easily to prove its value in a contained set of infrastructure or a contained environment. So if you are interested in that, then look, there'll be some follow-ups after this webinar in any event. we can certainly discuss that with you. It's very easy to do. We can even look at getting you on our cloud version and leverage our cloud instance of Centerity to just to have a bit of a play around. So lots and lots of options. Great. So Marty, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so. If anybody has any questions for me, I'll be happy to field them. But I'm very pleased that you all attended this morning. It's great to see Centerity. A great partner. They had a lot of success early on with their product, and we were working with them.
All right. I think we just started to lose you there at the end there, Marty. So that maybe the internet connection's degraded just a fraction, but. Brett, can I just get you to jump to the final slide, please, and we'll just wrap up. So, so as I said, thanks for taking the time and joining the webinar. I hope that it was informative. We've probably shown, I've only shown a portion of what Centerity can do. From our perspective, being on Centerity for the last 18 months, it has completely transformed our business, completely transformed the way we service our customers, and we went from a reactive service model to a complete proactive support model. So it can happen very, very quickly if you deploy the right tools. And Centerity for us is a very strategic partnership in the context of our own business and also our offerings in Australia and New Zealand. As I mentioned, we offer it in 3 flavors: a full managed service, which is essentially you outsource your complete management of your infrastructure, and we use Centerity and our resources to manage your environment. We then move down to a SaaS option where we essentially deliver Centerity via our cloud. We have some other cloud products such as virtual desktop, a hosted Remedy instance, as well as DR on demand. So that just complements that suite nicely. So you just pay by check. So a couple of dollars per month per check, and you can have your environment monitored. The last one there is the on-premise solution. So if you want to keep your monitoring solution in-house, we can absolutely come and do an on-premise deployment. And one of the earlier questions was how long that would take. You're talking in the order of 1 to 2 weeks maximum. As I said, the proof of concept and implementation information, we've got a myriad of options by which to give you a bit of a taster of how this could work for your environment. So by all means, contact 1300 Applaud, visit our website at applaudservices.com, or email us at sales@applaudservices.com. We've got sales staff both in Melbourne and in Sydney and in Brisbane, so all up and down the East Coast. So if you want to talk to any of our sales guys, please email us or email myself. And for the latest white papers and product information, it's all on www.centerity.com, and I know that website's being updated weekly. So if you want to go look at some white papers or some of the more in-depth product information, then please, by all means, jump onto that website and take a look. Without any further ado, I guess I'll wrap it up there. We're 5 minutes within the hour, so I thank you all again for attending, and I hope you have a pleasant day. Thanks very much.